Welcome to the Human Observation Lab. I'm New York, your host and observer. Today, we're going to explore something fascinating: the psychological structures behind how we form expectations about the economy.
Hi everyone, I'm Juan. I have to admit, when I hear economic expectations, it sounds kind of dry, but something tells me there's more to it.
Indeed. Behind every market movement, every policy decision, there are human beings making predictions about the future. Today, we'll analyze several recent news stories to understand why people react the way they do to economic institutions and power structures.
So we're not just talking about numbers, we're talking about the humans behind those numbers. That sounds way more interesting.
Let's begin with an interesting phenomenon. Recently, short-term financial markets have completely priced in 3 ECB rate hikes within this year due to inflation concerns. The key word here is priced in. Markets have already decided what will happen before it happens.
Wait, so the markets are acting like these rate hikes are definitely going to happen. But hasn't the ECB actually done them yet?
Correct. This is what we call expectation formation in behavioral economics. Markets don't wait for reality, they trade on their collective prediction of reality. This is a fundamentally human behavior, not just a financial one.
That's kind of amazing when you think about it. A whole bunch of people are basically placing bets on the future. But why are they so confident?
This relates to what psychologists call social proof and authority bias. When central banks signal their intentions, market participants collectively trust that signal. The ECB has expressed concern about inflation, so the market believes they will act.
So it's like, everyone believes because everyone else believes? And because the authority said so?
Precisely. There's a psychological concept called the bandwagon effect. When people see others acting on a prediction, they're more likely to adopt that same prediction. In markets, this creates a self-reinforcing cycle.
But what if the prediction is wrong? What if the ECB doesn't raise rates 3 times?
An excellent question. This brings us to cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort people feel when reality contradicts their beliefs. Interestingly, when predictions fail, people often don't abandon their trust in institutions. Instead, they rationalize why the prediction was almost correct.
That's really human, isn't it? We don't like admitting we were wrong, so we find ways to protect our original belief.
Yes. And this connects to another recent news item. The Bank of Japan has nominated a reflationist to its policy board. A reflationist is someone who supports aggressive monetary easing to achieve inflation targets. The market's reaction? They believe this means policy direction won't change significantly. Let's analyze why markets trust this interpretation. When a new member joins a central bank, people immediately try to categorize them. Reflationist becomes a label that triggers certain expectations.
It's like we're putting people in boxes. Oh, this person is X type, so they'll definitely do Y. Is that fair?
From a psychological perspective, this is called categorization heuristics, mental shortcuts our brains use to process complex information quickly. It's not about fairness, it's about cognitive efficiency. The human brain prefers simple narratives over complex realities.
So when we hear reflationist, our brains go, okay, easy money policies continue, got it. We don't dig deeper.
Exactly. And this trust in labels and institutions serves an important psychological function: it reduces uncertainty. Humans have a fundamental need for predictability. When an institution like a central bank provides signals, we cling to them because the alternative, genuine uncertainty, is psychologically uncomfortable.
That makes sense. Living in constant uncertainty would be exhausting. But is this trust always justified?
That's the crucial question. Trust in institutions is built through repeated interactions and consistent behavior. The Japan-UK Financial Regulation Forum, which recently held its 4th meeting, represents another form of institutional trust building: international cooperation frameworks.
So countries are building trust with each other through these regular meetings? Like, We know what to expect from you because we've established these rules together?
Precisely. These forums create institutional memory and establish norms. From a psychological standpoint, they reduce the cognitive load of international cooperation. Participants don't have to figure out how to interact each time, they have established protocols.
It's like having a regular coffee date with a friend. You don't need to renegotiate how to interact every time. The structure is already there.
An apt analogy. However, this institutional trust has a darker side. When we become too comfortable with established structures, we may ignore signs that those structures are failing or changing. This brings us to our next topic, power dynamics. Recent summit meetings have revealed what some analysts call the reality of power dominance. International relations, at their core, reflect psychological hierarchies. Some nations hold more influence than others, and this shapes how leaders interact.
That sounds pretty intense. Power dominance. Is that just a fancy way of saying might makes right?
Not exactly. In social psychology, power dynamics refer to how influence flows between parties. In international summits, we observe status hierarchies, unspoken rules about who gets to speak first, whose concerns are prioritized, and who makes concessions.
So even at these high-level meetings, it's kind of like, who's the popular kid at school?
The analogy is surprisingly accurate. Research in social psychology shows that humans naturally form hierarchies in any group setting. These hierarchies are maintained through subtle cues, body language, speaking order, even seating arrangements.
And I'm guessing smaller countries feel pressure to go along with what the powerful ones want.
This is where compliance psychology comes into play. Studies show that people are more likely to agree with requests from high-status individuals, even when those requests contradict their own interests. This is amplified in public settings where rejecting a powerful figure would cause embarrassment.
That's a bit scary when you think about it. Countries might agree to things that aren't in their best interest because of psychological pressure.
Indeed. The article mentions that international society expects certain roles from Japan. This expectation creates what sociologists call role strain, the tension between what others expect of you and what you actually want to do.
So Japan is caught between what other countries want and what might be best for its own people.
Let's bring this back to everyday life. The psychological structures we've discussed, expectation formation, institutional trust, power dynamics, affect all of us, not just markets and governments.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. How does this connect to regular people like me?
Consider how you form expectations about your own life. When you trust a company's promise about a product, or when you believe your employer's vision for the future, you're engaging in the same psychological processes as market participants.
I see. I trust my bank to keep my money safe, my government to provide stability. But should I be more critical?
Critical thinking is valuable, but complete skepticism is also problematic. Humans need some level of trust to function. The key is calibrated trust, understanding why you trust, and adjusting that trust based on evidence rather than defaulting to blind faith or total distrust.
So it's not about trusting nothing or trusting everything. It's about understanding why I trust what I trust.
Precisely. When you see news about central banks or international summits, recognize the human psychology at play. Markets aren't machines, they're collections of people making predictions under uncertainty. Institutions aren't monoliths, they're groups of humans navigating complex power dynamics.
That actually makes me feel a bit better. These big institutions are just people, like us, trying to figure things out.
Yes. And sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't. The important thing is to observe these structures calmly, without being swept up in emotional reactions or blind trust.
Well, I think I understand economic expectations a lot better now. It's really about understanding ourselves and how we process information about the future.
Indeed. Whether it's ECB rate hikes, BOJ appointments, or international power dynamics, at the core, we're observing human behavior under uncertainty. Thank you for joining us in the Human Observation Lab today.
Thanks for having me. This was way more interesting than I expected. See you all next time.
Until next time, keep observing the structures behind the surface. There's always more to understand about why humans react the way they do.